Organizational changes mean that you can run an organization effectively using just AI, which is going to be a big change in the way the world works and the way we know companies to work, right? So that whole having three people or one person have $1 billion company will become a reality for us.
Is the age of prediction-based AI coming to an end? OpenAI's latest release, 1, promises a revolutionary leap in reasoning-based intelligence. But is this the breakthrough we've been waiting for, or is it just another costly gamble in the race to superintelligence? Raj, I've been playing around with the beta version or the free version of 1. It's now been released. I must say I am impressed, but is it really all that different from 4.0? I mean, what are your thoughts on the new release?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. They release new models with new names, and the users are a little confused as to what's actually happening. But as it happens under the hood, there's a lot going on, and that's what's really interesting about this, which is the evolution to AGI for OpenAI is split up into five different categories. One being a ability for it to have a logical discussion, which you currently can do. Number two is to be able to then actually have a bit of reasoning with the user. Number three is having the agents to work properly. Number four is innovation. And number five is organizational changes. Innovation being super creative, you got to be able to be very creative. Organizational changes mean that you can run an organization effectively using just AI, which is going to be a big change in the way the world works and the way we know companies to work, right? So that whole having three people or one person have $1 billion company will become a reality for us. So all these things and more to happen. I do feel though that one is a consequence of more than just what we need to achieve for AGI. It's also that the scaling laws have sort of paused for AI. So adding more resources to the compute power may not lead to a smarter model. As we discussed in the last show, that Orion was not able to achieve that. So there's a lot of things to happen. And to achieve that reasoning, they're using a methodology which is a agentic workflow within the AI. So effectively, the AI is asking a lot of questions internally, which are not shown to the user, and that gives them the answer they're looking for as the end user. The reality is, it's a much better model. If you do calculations, for example, ask questions like I often ask this question to people in my workshops. How many R's in the word raspberry? See what you get. You get two, one, but with O1, typically you would get three, which is kind of nice.
Okay, awesome. Now, let's talk about the O1 as a model. Maybe you could kind of dive in a little bit and explain the difference between what it takes to have reasoning versus just a prediction-based model, which is 4.0, obviously. Is this a genuine breakthrough, or are we just seeing a rebranding of existing capabilities kind of structured a little bit differently?
So there has been a lot of different. I mean, we're now in December 2024. There've been a lot of different announcements coming out of O1 in a big way. They have actually made the O1 faster as well. Effectively, O1 is a different model because it, as I mentioned before, it is agentic in nature. It goes back and forth to make sure it understands the question we're asking as a user and be able to then check internally the answer is correct. And that sort of chain of thought reasoning, which is basically breaking down a complex task and then going back and forth to answer the question, is fundamentally different from 4.0. Hence, with 4.0, you can get the answer very quickly. You will have the answer within 5 seconds. Sometimes the O1 in the past, it would take a minute long. But what they've done differently now is they're giving the tasks answers at different times. So if you, for example, ask a hard question, it'll take more compute time, it'll do more back and forth, and hence the answer will take a bit longer to be received. But overall, all this shows to me that there is a different approach to reasoning, whether it's not just computational power like 4.0 and conversational happening between the chat and the user, but it's still helping them build a better reasoning model for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, this could come at a cost. I mean, there's hidden costs for everything, and one is consuming kind of unprecedented resources, requiring the power of several nuclear reactors, according to one report. Are we nearing a future where the wealthiest companies can actually afford to innovate in AI? I mean, the power requirements for these models is becoming kind of outlandish. So, what are your thoughts in terms of the energy required to power these models?
Yeah, absolutely. These models require colossal amount of energy, not only for inference, but also for training as well. Famously, Anthropic is spending about $1 million, $1 million, $1 billion to actually train their models. At the moment, OpenAI is spending about 5 billion, making only 4 billion, so they're losing $1 billion every year. But that's just the normal way of startups in this eco space working. Amazon, for example, famously made tons of losses and then became profitable. But now where they are, they're the undisputed leader in the space. So you become a leader, you have to spend money and you have to make some losses. That's just part of it. And yes, because O1 is so agentic in nature, it will require more compute power. But that comes at a price, not only for the companies, but also for the users. As we know that OpenAI has launched a $200 per month model with unlimited Sora, which is the video model, text to video model, as well as a much more generous O1 usage as well. Because O1 at the moment in December 2024 is only 50 prompts per week, which I think is at least per month, I believe. So it's not very generous at the moment, but if you get the $200, you get more. Again, depends on the use case. If the user wants to really use and harness the power of AI and O1 is your answer, then you want to spend that kind of money to be able to get that model.
Yeah. Now, critics argue that O1's so-called reasoning still relies on pattern recognition and lacks true understanding. And I think that this is kind of a common thing. Like, do computers really understand the nuances of human thought and emotion? Are we overestimating AI's capabilities by mistaking statistical mimicry for human-like thinking?
You're right there, Megan. Absolutely agree with you. If we look at what's happening in O1, it's basically the 4O model with agentic workflow. And we have to start somewhere, right? The reality is creativity and be able to really genuinely think out of the box is a very, very complex task. It's not easy for any AI to mimic it. In fact, if you there was an interview with Naval and Joe Rogan, where Naval said that actually one of the pivotal moments for us is going to be when AI can be truly creative. And that is a very human skill. So to be truly creative, to be truly out of the box, one needs to be able to train them, and that will require much more computational power, better models, and also be able to perhaps optimize the models for better outputs. It's it's not going to happen tomorrow. It'll take some time, and I believe O1 is the right step in the right direction, but this is not the answer yet.
Yeah, yeah. Now, in one of our very recent previous episodes, we spoke about AI. We've used all the available data in the world to program AI. AI models have kind of hit the limits of scalability. Is this shift towards reasoning a sign of progress, or is it actually just desperation in a field that is kind of starting to struggle to justify its enormous costs and diminishing returns?
I don't disagree with that actually. As it happens, the the power of what AI can do is incredible because now we need less human beings. There was a very nice demo by I can't remember which university it was, but there was a researcher who was there on who was visiting a open AI launch on their YouTube videos, and they're talking about how it has helped them to discover better mutations in genes, for instance. I can see the power of this, right? And there is a lot of opportunities in this space. Things which are mundane or very time consuming can be worked on using OpenAI O1 and other tools similar to it or the model similar to it. So yes, it's costly. Yes, it's time consuming. It's slow. It's clunky. But the upside is that we get a ton of power and we can do things which we couldn't do before because of lack of resources. So now a lab with just one researcher truly work on a mutation of a gene which can solve a, a problem like I don't know cancer, AIDS, that sort of stuff, which is a groundbreaking. The ROI, return on investment on that is infinite, right? Because it saves so many lives, for instance. So yes, it's expensive, but in the grand scheme of things, actually, it is a great opportunity for human beings, and it will just make us better. I don't think this is a negative or a sort of a perhaps not in the right step in the right direction. Actually, it kind of changes a lot of things for humankind.
Yeah. The ROI is not necessarily financial. It's coming through in other ways. So yeah, I suppose it just depends how you measure what the ROI is on that financial investment.
100%. And I imagine the labs who are going to be profiting from it eventually when the medication is out, for example, or the cure is out. I mean, that in itself is a big ROI. So if you think about only ROI, this is huge, but also from the point of view of human progress and scientific progress, this is huge.
Awesome. That's a wrap on today's deep dive into OpenAI's latest attempt to redefine the future of AI. What's your take? Are we really truly entering the reasoning era, or is this just another overhyped step in the race for superintelligence? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll catch you in the next episode.